Yeah, I saw the U.S. Army tweet with Lana Del Rey. What the fuck is this, bro? What is this? I mean, we made fun of this yesterday, but being brave means knowing that when you fail, you don't fail forever. Except unless you're the American military, okay? One dub and then a sequence, the longest streak of L's, dude. What the fuck? When's the last time the American military got a fucking dub, dude? The U.S. Army's just been getting its fucking shit pushed in permanently since, you know, World War II. That's it. And even then, they got fucking carried by the USSR. The United States military is pay to lose, okay? Genshin Impact, pay to win. United States military, pay to lose. You pay so they can fucking keep losing.
13 months and
so that, you know, the military industrial complex could keep making money. That's it. It's true. Sadly, the U.S. military has fallen off. Plus L plus ratio.
Give me a kiss, chat.
Like, think about the biggest dub that the DOD got, okay? Like, think about, like, one of the biggest dubs the DOD got. What was it? It was fucking killing a dude that was already hiding in, like, that was hiding next to the Annapolis of Pakistan that we definitely knew where the fuck he was, okay? Like, literally down the street from like, the West Point of Pakistan. He was just chilling, watching porn and shit, okay? Motherfucker's like 6'7" too. Impossible for him to hide. Okay.
Is Russia going to Newcastle?
That is like the biggest dub we got. Was just like literally a overnight excursion. Okay, where you know they fucking flew over. They literally downed a Black Hawk in the process of it for no reason. Okay. And then absolutely fucking cumstered and dumpstered into a compound where like. They didn't even know that people were coming. There was like no pushback at all. There was no defense. You know what I mean? Crazy.
Love you, Hassel.
Homie was out there cranking a fucking fat load to hentai and then just gets canoed by some fucking hoorah, you know, buck wild fucking cornbread, you know, boot man coming in, knocking his door down. He's like, what the fuck is going on? Boom, fucking blasted. Okay.
Puerto Rico.
That's the biggest dub we've gotten, dude. Can you just imagine? Just the biggest dub that the U.S. military got was like killing Osama bin Laden many, many years after.
What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone is having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world.
Did I say cornbread? I meant corn-fed, yes.
This is the Hasanabi broadcast coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California.
Are you saying that we shouldn't have killed bin Laden? I'm saying that we should have seen bin Laden.
Love you,
okay?
Hasan and chat. Thanks for making work from home bearable.
Instead of, you know, tossing his fucking body off of some carrier or whatever. Are you saying we should go to war with Russia over Ukraine? Oh, totally, dude. I love... If there's one thing you guys know about me... If there's one thing you guys know about me, I love war. I'm a big fan of war. Like, I can't get enough of it. You know, stonks are not doing well, so I'm excited for the defense stonks to, you know, go to the moon this upcoming week. You know, it's very cool. I'm a big fan of war. Some might even say I'm the god of war. I'm like Kratos, you know? TikTok is pushing Philly D's Ukraine videos about Ukraine. Philly D's Ukraine videos about Ukraine. They're getting so many views. It's insane. Check out all of his last few videos. Cash App, thank you for the 69 gift subs. Holy fuck, dude. What's going on with Germany and Russia? Peace talks between US and Russia fail again. Dude, war is good, baby. War is good for the ratings. Oh my God. Philip DeFranco's channel just became, you know, Philip the State Department. Oh, oh, that was so bad. That was, I gotta do that more. I gotta, you know, let's get back to the drawing board on that one. So I mean, here's the reality though. Okay. Philip the State Op was right there, man. I mean, look. The thing is, like, for people like Philip DeFranco and the average American and all of your liberal friends, of course they're gonna fucking be like, you know, yeah, we got to do everything we can to fucking defend Ukraine or whatever, because like that's what the media is telling them. They're not gonna think about it beyond the point of like, manufacturing consent doesn't work this way. Okay, manufacturing consent doesn't work in the way that you think, where like people are getting together and deciding like, we should do this, we should be pro-war. It's more so about like, it's more so about people that get elevated to those positions within media for having that perspective naturally and organically, right? That's it.
Here.
And I don't think like Phil DeFranco personally is like, oh yeah, it'll be sick because good for ratings, or he might, I don't even know if he has a position on this. I'm assuming he does. I just personally, like I said yesterday, and I will continue saying, okay, I do not believe that this is adequate. I do not believe that this is the smart thing to do. I do not believe that like arming Ukraine and then fucking sending troops over to Ukraine, like none of this is a good idea. It's just not. It's not a fucking good idea at all. Okay? Yesterday, for the first time ever, I noticed the United States government used the phrase lethal aid as a euphemism for arms or weapons. By the very next day, national media adopted the phrase without even using quotes. The first shipment of assistance recently directed by President Biden to Ukraine arrived in Ukraine tonight. The shipment includes 200,000 pounds of lethal aid, including ammunition for the frontline defenders of Ukraine. 90 tons of U.S. lethal aid arrives in Ukraine as the border tensions with Russia rise. What the fuck is that? Like, what is that? What is lethal aid? Like, what do you mean? You mean guns? That's what you mean? You mean weapons? That's, you know? That's the only thing we're good at, is fucking giving lethal aid. That's it. And then at home, we never think about the impact of that at home. Like, we love talking about fucking, you know, how stupid K-Konas are. Oh yeah, you want to shoot COVID. You want to shoot COVID. Okay.
Hell
well,
yeah,
our liberal State Department is also saying lethal aid. How is that any different? Okay. Like, these minor tweaks play a larger role in changing people's attitudes about certain things. Neoliberals are out here being like, we're applying lethal aid to Ukraine. That's sick, man. That's fucking sick. That's really cool. That's really tight. Now, what is every single person is going buck wild on the Ukraine stuff. Every single person is like, it just popped the fuck off. I have friends who follow and track the Canadian side of this, and Canada, weirdly enough, was like going harder, because it's like even weirder for Canada and Canadian people to like be engaging in this kind of rhetoric. Like, what the fuck is it to you, Canada? You know? So
love you, Hasanabi.
so now we're just going straight up. Like, we're going brazy with it, you know? We're just, and in the latest sequence of L's, we have now decided that, you know, we're going to send fucking Biden is going to choose which forces he wants to send over to Ukraine. Okay? And the entire media apparatus, the entirety of mainstream media is looking at this as, why would Putin invade Ukraine again? Ukrainian families on the Russian border live in fear of Putin invasion. U.S. evacuating diplomats from the Ukraine embassy. And it's like, okay, that's, first of all, it's not acceptable for Vladimir Putin to invade Ukraine. It's not, right? I just, make no mistake. I do not believe that it is an appropriate thing for Vladimir Putin to do. Okay? So let me just get that out of the way. Let me get that out of the fucking way so that people do not misunderstand my position. Having said that, however, the reasoning as to why there is more troop activity at the fucking Ukrainian border on the Russian side specifically, is because we keep fucking juicing the Ukrainians. And we're like, we're going to put you in NATO. What is this? I thought the NATO was the Western alliance, like the Western Hemisphere alliance. And now it's like Ukraine is also a part of the West. What's not a part of the West, motherfucker? Everyone is just an expressly anti-USSR, anti-communist fucking organization is now adding additional, adding Ukraine into the fucking fold. Why the fuck would Russia ever want that? Like, why would they want that? Like, can you imagine a world in which, like, I don't know, the Chinese government was like, we are going to turn Canada into a military base, okay? We're going to turn Canada and Mexico into forward operating bases, okay? In our endless effort to stop the capitalist rot coming out of Western imperialist forces. Western imperialism is a serious problem. So now we're going to fucking put bases in Canada and we're going to put bases in Mexico. People are saying Cuba. Yeah, that's a great example. What happened with the Cuban Missile Crisis? And even then, the Cuban Missile Crisis only happened because America put missiles directed at the USSR in Turkey.
Rip Bozo.
Fuck this. I'm going to watch YouTube. What is this, bro? Hundreds of truckers headed to Ottawa and Freedom Rally. Dude, you're such a dumbass. Like, I'm talking about something entirely separate, and you're like, please look at my fucking Canadian news story. Fuck this. I'm going to YouTube. All right, go watch YouTube then. Anyway. But NATO control of Ukraine is infinitely better than NATO not being there. Russia will just wipe the floor with them instead. Says Irish lefty potato. No, there is no NATO control of Ukraine is better.
Brain feels slightly
that is ridiculous, okay? That is fucking ridiculous. And there are probably Ukrainian people who are, there are probably Ukrainian people in here who are like, no, fuck that. We want NATO. We want NATO. It's like, you don't know what you want, okay? Ultimately, I find it rather fucking strange that we have pro-NATO leftists, okay? A organization, an international organization, specifically, we should invade Ukraine first and surprise everybody. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing right now. That's kind of what NATO is like. Anyway.
Love you, fam. Hassle.
Also, we don't want another what? You're saying valid points, except that Russia isn't like, oh, we're just going to use this for dick waving. They're actually annexing sovereign land. Also, we don't want another Holodomor? Are you fucking insane? You think Russia has the capacity? You think that there is like the same kind of centralized control that fucking Stalin had over Ukraine in the same capacity that Russia has now? Like, the USSR is over. Okay? There is no USSR. There is no expansive power that Russia has. That is a fucking delusional take, dude. Get off Reddit. Get the fuck off Reddit. Like, that is psychotic. What? Oh, are they going to fucking control your grain? Is that what's going to happen? Is Russia going to come in and be like, in our modern day, okay, in present day, the Russian government that has the GDP of like fucking, Colorado is going to go into Ukraine and then limit your fucking grain supply. They're going to be like, no, you have to give us all your grain. And then they're going to start killing motherfuckers who hoard it. That's what you think is going to happen. That's like, unironically, you woke up this morning and you thought we are going to have a Holodomor in Ukraine. Like, we can't do that.
Look at all those open tabs. That's hoarder behavior.
That's psychotic. That's almost as fucking stupid as like people saying, oh, they're going to invade Europe. Russia's going to invade Europe. No, the fuck they're not. They're not.
Yo.
My office is now getting calls from folks who say they watch Tucker Carlson and are upset that we're not siding with Russia in its threats to invade Ukraine and who want to support Russia's reasonable positions. Fuck yeah, dude. Good for Tucker Carlson.
Lamau, this is too good, cat.
Obviously, he's a fucking psychopath who's like all those fucking conservatives. They're like, oh yeah, why the fuck are we invading Ukraine or whatever? The only reason why they're saying that is because Joe Biden is doing it, and two, they're like, actually, we should be invading China instead.
Pogo.
Here's the reality, okay? while it is still completely unacceptable for the Russian troops to like go and invade Ukraine, obviously. You're being biased because it's a left defender. Sorry, but I can't agree with you. Yeah, but they isolated Ukraine. It's similar to Cuba. NATO isn't doing shit. Yeah, the reason why NATO is not doing shit yet, even though they are doing shit, they're fucking talking about, gathering support for it. You know who's not actually doing shit? Germany, motherfucker. Why don't you go yell at the fucking German government for being like, we are not staying, we are staying the fuck out of this, okay? Why is Germany not involved? Why is Germany not fucking, defending Ukraine's honor? Maybe because they understand that, one, they're a trade partner with fucking Russia, and two, it's fucking psychotic. It's a psychotic thing to do.
World War III Sag.
Yeah, I know, oil pipeline. I know, this is my point. Anyway. The thing is, leftists in Georgia and Ukraine have to reconcile between being anti-NATO, but also NATO is the only entity that can actually... Here, we got a Georgian in the chat giving a Georgian ass take. Let's hear it. Warger says, the thing is, Georgia and Ukraine have to reconcile between being anti-NATO, but also NATO is the only entity that can actually slow down and prevent the annexation of more land. Here, they sneakily push the border further once a week, so it's not like they are truly on the defensive. Obviously, the whole lot of more stuff is silly, though, lol. Yeah. So unlike every fucking content creator, okay, I'm going to be 100% honest with you and tell you, I don't have the fucking answers, but I do know what not to do, okay? And what not to do is just like keep fucking pumping, keep funneling weapons into Ukraine. Who knows who's getting those weapons, okay? And use idiotic justifications to fucking send more military there and escalate this into saber rattling, okay? Or a step above saber rattling. It's because there is legitimacy to the point that, like, Ukraine wants to maintain its autonomy, its independence. Russia funnels weapons to separatists. We have trainers in Ukraine already. Why can't we provide their military, which we help train with weapons? Because when we start doing that, then it's going to turn into a serious fucking, a much, much larger problem. And not only that.
Ciao. And
what are you talking about? Guns are saving Ukraine from Russia? In this day and age, at this stage, the only way to prevent serious fucking war or annexation or anything like that is by continuing and normalizing your fucking relations with countries that you already are engaging in trade with and not treating them like a foreign adversary. Okay? It's that saber rattling already.
Pog pog.
But it's escalating beyond saber rattling. Okay? And Ukraine's ISIS is already there. It's just fucking Nazi paramilitaries that they're giving money to and that they're giving guns to. For the record, for people being like, this is going to make a Ukrainian ISIS, it's there already. There has never been, in the history of the United States, foreign conflicts and foreign involvement, there's never been a situation where, like, us giving guns and us utilizing,
if you start now.
Even if it's a legitimate interest of autonomy, okay? Even if there's a legitimate interest of autonomy, which Ukraine has, a legitimate interest in being autonomous and independent of Russia, there has never been an instance where, like, arming fucking paramilitaries and offering training and then agitating them to then go and fucking push back against a country that we have declared our foreign adversary has worked successfully, okay?
I have yet to succumb to the
same with the fucking Kurds. A legitimate interest in building for 35 million Kurdish people that do not have a nation state. The Kurds have an honorable and legitimate interest in nation building, okay? Totally understand that. Totally respect that. What does America do? Look at that serious fucking interest and use the Kurds as a weapon to wield against whoever the fuck they want to in their endless effort to destabilize the region. Okay, look where the Kurds are now. Now, obviously, there's a difference between Ukraine and Kurds because there is no Kurdistan, but there is a Ukraine as an established nation state.
How do I
right?
go back?
But I totally, and I, like, while I understand, okay, while I absolutely understand Ukraine's legitimate interest in
That's
Ukraine's legitimate interest in maintaining their autonomy and maintaining their independence. Russia should supply Ukraine if Russia does invade and a prolonged conflict begins. I mean, that's what's happening already.
Twitch Prime used to support my favorite streamer.
It's a lose-lose in my opinion. If we do, we might be committing negligence on an enormous scale, but if we arm Ukrainians, Russia will just use it as propaganda for their victimhood. No, the only thing that'll happen is, do I believe that Vladimir Putin is using this as an opportunity to just fucking annex further territory?
With the best community
Yes.
in Twitch, Hassel turning 25
Okay.
now sucks to not be around.
Miran
my family,
Tofik,
but your stream makes it
the
better, Hass.
number one Kurdish troll in my chat, literally will hear me say, I fucking understand that there is an honorable intention behind like building a nation state for 35 million Kurds that are currently living in diaspora, and then will still say your fucking take is bullshit when I openly state that the American government utilizes Kurdish militaries against whoever the fuck they want as a simple tool. Okay, that is just a factually correct statement. You are fucking ridiculous if you think that that is not true. I literally know people that like went and fought alongside YPJ. They fucking say it like they got trained by Americans. It's true. Now, the problem I have with this is that Ukraine does have a right to exist, of course, and this is about Russian aggression. The issue I have with this is we are fucking pushing this to a place that it does not have to go to. Okay? I'm not defending Russia, but ethnic British civilians were locked in militia combat with a neighboring country. They get involved. People forget Eastern Ukraine has swaths of ethnic Russians and is leading for a factor in the conflict. Yes, but Eastern Ukraine with swaths of ethnic Russians only comprise 20% of the fucking population of Ukraine. Okay? So, while they are like pretty much the same fucking people.
0 month streak, let's go.
Oh, he said it's true and I hate it. Oh, this motherfucker literally agrees with me and then still complains, dude. Jesus Christ. It's true and I hate it. Go through my logs. Go through logs. I know. Classic racist thinking that, I'm going to be anti-Kurdish by design, because I'm Turkish, right? That's the real racism, I think, is the anti-Turkish sentiment expressed by, I can't even say it with a straight face. Okay. I literally agree. Your worst take on Ukraine, I agree with 99% of the time, but fucking Christ, defending an ally from the aggression of an imperial wannabe fascist is good. First of all, we are the imperialist wannabe fascist as well as Russia is, for the record. And our business, here's how I think, okay? I don't think Russia should invade Ukraine, obviously. But us having a say in that conversation is insane, okay? And motherfuckers will say, not this time. This time is appropriate. Not this time. This time is actually appropriate. And you do this without realizing that you are basically still advocating, okay? You're still advocating for further NATO involvement. You're still advocating for building fucking military bases. You're still advocating for further escalation of conflict against a country that we have declared our foreign enemy. And that's it. That's it. I don't know what the best answers are, but I do know what bad answers are. And bad answers are trying to fucking put Ukraine into NATO, an organization designed specifically to say fuck you to the USSR, fuck you to communism, international communism, an organization that is still being utilized to enact Western imperialism, like taking a fucking neighbor of a country that we've declared a foreign adversary and like adding them onto the let's fuck this country, let's fuck this country organization is obviously a fucking threat. Like, that's crazy to assume that that is not, you know, that's not a threatening action against this other nation. You sound like the UK when Hitler said he wanted Poland. There, if you cannot comprehend the difference between fucking like Adolf Hitler and Russia, I don't know what to tell you. There is like, that's just a bananas take, dude. Like, here, let me use an example. It's like, don't you think the Kurds have their backs to the wall because it's not like Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran have actively tried to genocide them like Saddam has tried? Is your solution to just leave Turkey to do whatever they want with the Kurds, which is ironic because a lot of Turkish military are ethnically Kurdish? Well, one, I do know that. My solution to this is 100,000% one that does not revolve around aligning with the United States of America, but absolutely fucking taking all of the coalition of paramilitaries and all of the fucking politicians that already exist and building and normalizing a relationship. First, building an autonomous region that is a Kurdish region, a Kurdish ethnic zone, okay, which already exists, and then talking to regional leaders and dealing with them rather than, you know, trying to get America involved, because America is never going to care. They're going to let the Turkish government roll over the Kurds and take whatever fucking territory they want to take every single time, and then engage in ethnic displacement. Hundreds of videos are going to be made of this segment. Yeah, I know. The main take of people who support Putin is literally, as long as there is Putin, there is no war. People are scared of the war in Chechnya, even World War II, the beginning of the war, the end of Putin. He's a fucking dictator, free Russia. Like, that's the other part of it. I feel like there's a distinct difference between capitalist American aggression in Iraq and defending an autonomous country against imperialism. Just because the USA is also imperialistic doesn't mean we shouldn't also fight against Russian imperialism. Just having a discussion, please don't drag me. I'm not dragging you, but we are utilizing the situation in Ukraine, which is an honorable and just situation from the Ukrainian perspective, to continue doing additional Western imperialism, to keep beefing up the ranks of NATO, to keep increasing the legitimacy of NATO, which is a organization designed with the express purpose of defeating communism all around the fucking world, okay? And defeating Russia. Well, not Russia, the USSR, which has been defeated. They succeeded. Okay? Every single time I get involved in foreign policy takes, it turns into something that...
Hassle.
It turns into something that is like significantly just awful. Everyone always has a deep understanding of racism or whatever. They're like very progressive on every other issue. But when it comes to anti-imperialist takes, when it comes to like having an approach where like America should be less involved in world affairs like this, like we are not the fucking world police. It's like everyone starts yelling at me because you get all your news from fucking NBC and you can't stop. Yeah, but it's better than Russian imperialism, you himbo dumbass. Yeah, ultimately, I think that is the honest take here. I mean, you're a piece of shit, but at least you're an honest piece of shit when you say, no, I prefer American and Western imperialism globally to Russian imperialism.
War stonks.
So Russia keeps making demands that they know for sure the West will never accept, like basically demanding that all Eastern European nations be kicked out of NATO and never accept it again. It's clear that they want to create a narrative where they have no choice but to take military action. I don't agree with that either. Like, obviously, there is a limitation to that. But I think at the stage saying Ukraine should have no business being in NATO, that's a completely reasonable fucking take, in my opinion, of a nation state that wants to maintain its sovereignty. We are talking about NATO, which is like I said, an organization expressly designed with the unique purpose of saying fuck communism and fuck any sort of expansion or any sort of escalation. Stop addressing the neolibs. You let these shitters control the stream for hours. The Ukrainian official is even stating that the West is overstating its Russian buildup at the border.
Hassle.
So the other problem is also this. There is obviously legitimate fears, especially on the Eastern Front, right? From Ukrainian families that live there. They do not want a fucking Crimea situation. They do not want, like, you know, the Russian military to like go across the border and like start murking fools. Okay. That is a legitimate fear that people have. But by and large, Ukraine's NSC Secretary Danilov tells BBC he does not expect an imminent invasion and doesn't share the panic which he connects to geopolitical and domestic processes in the West. The buildup of Russian troops at the Ukrainian border isn't as rapid as some claim. The entire purpose is the entire purpose of this conversation that we're seeing on BBC, because the UK also came out and revealed more information about this earlier today, is so that we get everyone whipped up into a frenzy and actually escalate to a point where there is, you know, actual war. And yet Europe is begging the U.S. to help. So you don't know what you're saying. Well, for new leaders in Europe then. And yet Europe is begging the U.S. to help does not also save yourself from this conflict. We should take care of ourselves first, people. Be the same ones going, but Ukraine though, Hasan. Like, the thing that is frustrating about these sorts of conversations is that it's incredibly, incredibly difficult to actually fucking push back against any sort of like State Department propaganda. It's so difficult because they hit it on every front. You will hear it from liberals, you'll hear it from neoliberals, you'll hear it from conservatives, you'll hear it from every single fucking person, to a degree where it's like the most important news story of the day, the most important thing of the day. You cannot think of anything else other than like, we have to go save Ukrainians. Oh my fucking God. The only way we can do that is by literally sending troops there. Ukraine has to be a part of NATO. They have to fucking fight back against Russia. You know what's going to be awful for Russia and Ukraine? If there's actual fucking war. And you might actually say, well, listen, Russia is still interested in expanding. And to that, I say, yes, I agree. But there is a better way to shut off Russia's expansive policies that revolves around diplomacy and economic control, considering the fucking trade relationships that Russia already has with European superpowers, than to say, we have to fucking put military members, we have to put American troops into Ukraine and fucking fight back in like active, hot warfare. Okay? And the people that are saying the European countries are fucking begging for it, that's not true. Baltic countries might be. Like countries comprised of, Slavs, certainly. But like, it's not true that Western European nations, other than America's number one fucking ally in not the European Union anymore, but actually just in Europe, the United Kingdom. That's it. America and the UK are the two main fucking advocates for beefing up fucking aggression towards Russia in this situation. Okay? But it doesn't matter unless Russia invades and it's not inherently aggressive. NATO is defensive. No, that's not true. NATO has never been defensive. It's not defensive. That's bullshit. I don't agree with the clear U.S. military foreign engagement like in Iran, Afghanistan, but I don't see the issue with NATO. Don't drag me. I just want to talk. NATO is not defensive and has never been defensive. That's not true at all. If NATO was defensive, why is the USSR not a part of NATO? Why was Russia never allowed to be in NATO? What the fuck do you mean NATO is defensive? That's just not true. The only thing that, dude, NATO is not defensive, okay? What's defensive is the top of the hour ad break defense that you can get by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. That's right, because at the top of the hour, there is actual aggression in the form of an 60-second ad break. Now, if you want uninterrupted hot takes, okay, if you want the uninterrupted broadcasting experience that many have had, then all you need to do is get gifted a sub if you're lucky, or if you're not lucky, you make your own luck by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Here's the 1 minute ad break now. Thank you, Bells Only, for the 5 gifted subs.
Let's go.
Anyway. Russia is nowhere near as
Hey,
imperialistic as the
10
U.S., but it's
months
still
since I
imperialistic, and
started
that's why we
avoiding
look to the
the top of the
Messiah and
hour ad
neglect to
break.
keep in mind that
I
the
love
U.S. is
you
the
all.
same. We are
Hassan,
scared,
Hassan,
man.
Peepo kiss,
No,
Peepo kiss,
I get
Peepo
it.
kiss.
NATO has literally been keeping peace in Europe from Russian aggression since the USSR luckily fell apart.
World War III popping off. Let's go.
Yeah, dude. That's true. Dude, I love doing peacekeeping missions by, sending like 11 fucking Norwegian troops to Afghanistan to also do door knocking and fucking murdering 14-year-olds. That I love doing peacekeeping like that. It's just like universally it's really fucking chill to do peacekeeping. Like, listen, we already know that the American government operates like the fucking mafia, okay? We build military bases everywhere. It's a fucking protection racket. Protecting from who? Protecting from the mafia. Us, okay? We are the mafia gang. Hey, do you not want us to fuck you up like in an irreparable capacity? Well, guess what? I see some real estate in your country. We're going to fucking pave that shit and we're going to turn that over into a beautiful American military base, which we will then use to further enact our world police mission, okay? Globally. And if you say no, we'll fucking kill you, okay? And NATO is just an extension of that. Just one other arm of that exact same fucking business that we are engaging in.
Thanks for everything, comrade.
And yes, the Ukrainians have wanted to be in NATO since fucking G-Dub, okay? George W. Bush, I think. Or was it George H.W.? Anyway. That's been an interest for a long time. It's a terrible fucking it's an aggressive stance. It's aggressive posturing against Russia, okay? That's it. Like it's ridiculous. It's the fuck Russia coalition, and Ukraine is like, let's join the fuck Russia coalition and get like sweet American missiles. And it's been ongoing for a very long time. Yeah, NATO allies oppose Bush on Georgia and Ukraine. Here. There it is. President Bush threw the NATO summit meeting here off script on Wednesday by lobbying hard to extend membership to Ukraine and Georgia, but he failed to rally support for the move among key allies.
What's popping, chat?
NATO was defensive when it blew up Libya? Yes, dude, you don't understand. Defending the interests of companies that want to overtake the natural water supply, for example, or countries that have a interest in having, I don't know, open air slave trade markets again. These are things that these are interests that need to be defended. Do you find it acceptable that the same person has been in power in Russia for 22 years without change? Of course not, dude. Putin and Erdogan are the same fucking person, like in nearly every capacity. So yes, obviously I understand. In a very unique way, by the way. Well, Putin more so than Erdogan in Turkey, but like because there is no fucking failsafe, because of the way that like Vladimir Putin has had such a strong grip of power over Russia. In the aftermath of Putin's demise, Russia is fucked, okay? So that's even worse. So there's that too. There's that terrifying prospect as well. At least in the aftermath of Erdogan, which hopefully is going to come soon, there is like a way to develop. Like Turkey has had more of a protective mechanism, like a better fail-safe, failover program than fucking Russia has. Because Putin was even more authoritarian than Recep Tayyip Erdogan. So, the U.S. and Ukraine, a government with neo-Nazi sympathies, were the only two countries voting against the UN bill Wednesday, combating glorification of Nazism, neo-Nazism, and other practices that contribute to the fueling of contemporary forms of racism, racial discrimination. Yeah, I don't care, by the way, for the record. I don't give a shit. Like, this type of stuff is whatever. Like, obviously, they're doing this. But this is still aesthetic bullshit. There's no alternative to Putin in Russia currently, since he
Putin
basically
is a
does not
custo,
allow any actual
Ukraine
opposition to
keeping it
form. Exactly.
50-50.
That's a genuine problem too. There will be a gigantic power vacuum like you can't even fucking believe in the aftermath of Vladimir Putin's demise, okay? Which will inevitably happen. He's not fucking immortal. Anyway.
Can't wait to get drafted.
There's still a good argument within the U.S. against adding Ukraine to NATO. Extending NATO treaty obligations to countries that the U.S. NATO may be less willing to go to war for definitely weakens NATO as an alliance. No shot. I just don't understand. There is no world in which, like, if China was as aggressive and as good at doing imperialism as the United States is, like, beyond one belt, one road, okay? Beyond, like, developing economic relationships, okay? But beyond economic imperialism, if China was also doing, like, boots on the ground fucking military base building all around the fucking planet and literally was like, we are going to put the fuck America bases in Canada, okay? There is no way in which the United States would be like, no, that's totally fine. That's valid. Like, if China was like, we're going to violate the Monroe Doctrine, okay? And we're going to fucking start building bases in the West, okay? Everywhere around the Western Hemisphere, we're building communist bases, and it's the fuck capitalism, fuck America bases, okay? That would not happen. Like, that would just not happen. America would be like, no, we're going to war. We're doing nuclear holocaust. It does not matter. You know what I mean? That's not a thing. So it's only acceptable when we do it. Germany and others are still dependent on Russian gas and other resources before war. There should be a great realignment of international alliances before total war, 15 years at the minimum. NATO is not defensive. Debated U.S. alliance policy with the NATO for a whole year, so I've done hella research on the Ukrainian conflict. The last thing Libya needs is an intensification of the U.S. proxy war. Like, yeah, NATO has never been a defensive. People that think NATO is a defensive organization they're silly. They're not serious people. They're just. You are horribly uninformed about geopolitics. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right, dude. Yeah, I'm horribly uninformed about geopolitics because China definitely has built military bases in fucking on America, like on either North or South American soil.
Let's go.
Like that, it's not even remotely comparable to what we do. Okay, what we do is not even remotely comparable. There's only one, the United States of America on the planet. There's not two. Okay. I 100% disagree with your Putin take. No way the oligarchy hasn't set up a good succession plan. The money can't be threatened. You're a dummy, okay? Historically, powerful, charismatic leaders rarely ever set up a fail-safe, rarely ever set up a good succession plan, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's Russia. It doesn't matter in Venezuela. It does not matter in most other fucking countries. Part of the reason why authoritarian strongmen are very successful is because of their grip of power. They're charismatic. It's literally reliant on one singular individual. And all they do is fucking destroy any sort of serious opposition because they're terrified, okay? Because they're terrified that someone might overthrow them. Same with fucking, Putin will never fucking build a successor because he doesn't want a successor to come and Putin. You know what I mean? And Navalny is certainly not that guy. He is fucking also awful too. Vladimir Putin is awful, but Navalny is also awful. Maybe not as awful as Vladimir Putin in some issues, but even more awful than Vladimir Putin in others, okay? The problem is that Russia's grievance when it comes to NATO countries boarding them is legitimate, but at the same time, Russia does see Ukraine and Belarus as a part of Greater Russia and sees their independence as a mistake they made after the collapse of the USSR. Yeah, I agree. So I'm saying it. Like, I'm openly stating, like, I don't know. I don't know what the fucking right solution here is. I just know what we are doing is wrong. Well, actually, that's not true. I think that like utilizing the economic, the trade capacity and the interest, the reliance that Russia has on European countries, European superpowers, to sell like oil and gas to, using that relationship to bully Russia or to make sure that they do not engage in any sort of expansive action against Ukraine is actually way smarter than being like, we are going to escalate this conflict into all-out war. Nobody fucking wants that. We are calling his bluff is actually pretty smart. We've also stated under no circumstance will we have troops involved. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're fucking super wrong.
Time go vegan B.
How is Navalny worse than Putin? The only parts of Navalny that I would say is like worse than Putin is, well, one, he will be just as authoritarian as Putin. He will just be authoritarian and aligned with Western interests. But two, he will, I mean, he's like fucking ultra nationalist personally as well.
Hell yeah.
I live in Russia and I don't like Putin a lot. Surely the annexation was a horrible decision, but he didn't do the shenanigans with Eastern Ukraine just like Crimea. If he did this, there at least wasn't a fucking civil war.
Yes.
But don't we know from historical precedent that appeasement-focused foreign policies don't prevent war? At this stage, at this day and age, okay, it's not appeasement that we're talking about. It's you know, trade relations that are already in existence that allow countries to survive. Chatters are pointing out that Ukraine supports actual neo-Nazis, but that's not unique to Ukraine. White supremacist militias are rampant all across Eastern Europe, including Russia, who directly supports them as well. Kind of a non-factor. Yeah, I mentioned that yesterday as well. But, you know, it bears repeating. Yes. Ultra-nationalist Nazi paramilitaries exist all around Eastern Europe, and they certainly exist in Russia as well. And they certainly do get fucking funding. I mean, dude, Chechens. That's a great, that's a useful paramilitary group that you can always fucking rely on, whether you're the Turkish government, whether you are Russia, you will always have like mega ultra nationalist fucking Chechen militias. Russia fails a lot for the same reason as the U.S. general administrative incompetence. Trade relations makes countries dependent on each other, which makes conflict less likely. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Gang love you, Hasan Hassel.
Also, it's pretty funny that we're talking about ultra-nationalist Nazi paramilitaries when here in America, when we have them too. But of course, our analysis of like an ultra-nationalist Nazi paramilitary is entirely different when it's like the dude that is also working at the Jiffy Lube down the street from you. You can't comprehend it in the same way. You're like, no, that's different. That's Hank. That's a totally separate guy. That's not like a, you know what I mean? That's a different guy than what we're talking about. You know, that's just, I know that guy, you know? Ukraine is mad at the U.S. for telling diplomat families to leave. Many Ukrainians, including the president's office, are unhappy with the U.S. order for diplomats' families to leave. Quite frankly, these Americans are safer in Kiev than they are in L.A. or any other crime-ridden city in the U.S. Okay, listen. So obviously nobody wants war because while Ukraine does have a pretty sizable military force, ultimately it would be fucking horrible for the people of Ukraine if they ended up in like hot conflict with the Russian military forces. It would be awful overall. It would be awful for everybody. You know who wouldn't be awful for? The motherfuckers who are egging this on. UK, the United States, Canada, the fucking the tip of the fucking imperialist allegiance, okay? Because they're gonna sell more guns. That's it. So the people that are literally there are like, no, this is fucking terrible. Can we just like fix this? Shut the fuck up. Except the people that genuinely do think this would be great are the people that are super fucking far removed from the conflict. Okay, they're not at the tip of the spear, but they're certainly, you know, they're the trifecta that think this is great. Ukraine utilizes ultranationals the same way a lot of Middle Eastern nations utilize radical Muslim groups. I don't think it's good, but it's understandable. Not to mention there are ultranationals and Nazbal elements that are popular in Russia too. I already mentioned that. Yes, you're correct, Warger.
Art, you're Hasanabi. Go Gadget Supersonic Minuteman 3 Colonizer Juicy Wet Shaft.
Anyway. Oh, the other part of the equation that, I mean, war is not good for Russia either, okay? Obviously. It's not good for the Russian people, but it's good for Vladimir Putin. So that's the other part of this convo too. Like, it's good for him to put a strong, well, not actual war, but it's good for him to put a strong approach, like to put a strong fucking forward-facing attitude in times of conflict to stand up against Western imperialist powers. You know what I mean? It's the same shit that like Erdogan does as well regularly. But that's only good if it's saber rattling. It's not good if you're actually fucking sending troops to go out and die. BBC. That's the difference. So I don't think Putin would actually fucking engage in any sort of like serious, I don't think they would actually engage in any sort of serious war.
I appreciate you less than 3.
Anyway, wouldn't a massive conflict essentially bankrupt Russia? Do they have the funds to pay for that? I don't know. Since the economy got fucked, Putin uses we are isolated and under attack as his claim to legitimacy. Low risk Ukraine incursion is perfect for him. Yeah, I mean, it's perfect for him as long as it doesn't fucking actually turn into all out war.
My tasty MasterChef VODs. LFGGGGG.
Do you think this relates to American nationalism? We see ourselves as the only ones able to solve problems around the world. I mean, that American nationalism is just a way to fucking, whip up the hogs and
let's give them a kiss
pump people full of fucking patriotic go juice to feel really righteous about all of our fucking imperialist conquests around the world. You are criticizing U.S. NATO a lot. What would you do if you were Biden? I mean, first of all, Biden is not the factor here. He's 700 years old. He has no brain power. You think Biden is like personally fucking making like active military decisions? No, of course not. Like, that's ridiculous. But what a competent government in this circumstance should be doing is saying, listen, we see, we understand and see the NATO thing that you consider to be a fucking, that you consider to be like an actual aggressive stance against your sovereignty as a nation, okay? But we are also legitimately worried about you annexing Ukraine, trying to further escalate tension. We do not want you to take over Ukraine. Obviously, Ukraine does not want you to take over Ukraine. Doesn't matter if you think it's a part of your greater, like, part of greater Russia. Doesn't matter if there's ethnic Russians in Ukraine.
1 year of being
ultimately,
a communist. Let's go, Pogu.
Ultimately, the best thing to do in this situation is to exhaust the diplomatic avenues before full-blown going into, we're sending fucking troops over there. We don't give a fuck. You step foot on Ukrainian soil, it's over. It's a fucking wrap, baby. Meanwhile, they're saying, if you keep fucking pumping, if you keep giving money to Ukraine, if you keep giving weapons to Ukraine, if you keep saying that Ukraine is going to join NATO and you're going to give them fucking additional firepower as though they are a part of NATO, then, we're going to fucking, we're going to start defending our borders against the Ukrainian paramilitaries that choose to engage in actual conflict. All it takes right now for this thing to just completely blow up is one group firing shots at another. That's it. Like a tiny piece of conflict will 1000% turn this into gigantic problems. Especially because like we're currently building the powder keg, okay? We're pumping it full of additional gunpowder. That's all the United States is doing. Instead of trying to fucking de-escalate, instead of trying, and there have been conversations this past week. I've been following it. Okay?
8 months of no top of the hour ad break.
European countries in the US and Ukraine and Russia are taking for like forever. Nothing came of it. There are also rounds of sanctions, but Russia still does puppet war in eastern Ukraine and occupies Crimea. Yeah, but it hasn't gotten to a point where we sent fucking 8,500 troops on alert for possible deployment to Eastern Europe amid Russia tensions. Okay. By the way, that's why the fucking NATO exists. Okay, that's why these alliances exist. That's why the United States operates fucking hundreds of military bases that we know of all around the world. So they could just be like, oh, yeah, what's up, dude? All right, time to fucking send troops over. This is not good. This is very bad. This is loading up the powder keg instead of de-escalating it. And people that have really adequate, comprehensive skills when they are analyzing de-escalation when it comes to domestic issues, when they're analyzing escalation and de-escalation when it comes to police brutality, cannot comprehend that exact same concept when it comes down to it, because they're only seeing Russia as the imperialist actor here. And there is certainly imperialist interest on behalf of Russia. That is true. Okay? I feel like we also forget that this started off this point about 4 years ago. No, it's way before. This has been going on for longer than 4 years. It's not when Trump sent over lethal aid and Republicans were literally jumping for joy.
What is my issue?
No. That's been an ongoing thing. That has been bipartisan. Us arming Russians has always been a fucking bipartisan thing. Obama started it. Well, I mean, even before Obama, like every American government has fucking done this because they see Russia as a good foreign adversary. How many of your viewers will be in jail when the draft comes? The draft is never going to come. That's crazy. We already have a poverty draft. And also, war has changed for America. Okay? It's so much easier to just fucking drone strike people. That requires way less fucking manpower than actually going out and drafting people and like forcing them in the fight America's wars. But I mean, I will definitely go to jail. That's a certainty. No, it's not since 2014. 2014 is the recent escalation, but I already showed you that it predates 2014 because George W. Bush even said that that Georgia and Ukraine should be a part of NATO back in 2008, as I showed you already.
Hassle.
If anything, this is more of an escalation than like there's different peaks in this conflict. This is one of them. Another one is, in 2014 under Obama. Why does America care about Russia when they have the GDP of like one of our states? Because part of the reason why our GDP is so fucking large is because we worry about Russia, and then that way we sell guns to everyone. You know, we sell weapons to Ukraine and everyone else. How about you talk to an actual Ukrainian streamer and see how they feel about this? I mean, I have Ukrainian friends who fucking, motherfucker, I'm currently getting information when I talk to someone in the chat. There is one person, I'm not gonna fucking call him out, but there's one person that I know is in one of these countries that we have mentioned. Okay, I don't want to fucking dox them too much. Okay, and stop trying to figure out who it is. So I am already doing that. And there are also, of course, Ukrainian people that I talk to in this, with respect to this as well. And once again, I think it's like, what is it, 60%, 60+% want to join NATO in Ukraine. So there is, you know, they do want to join NATO. Ukrainians do want to fucking make sure that they're as beefed up as possible against potential Russian annexation.
Pog.
Myth. NATO is encircling and trying to contact Russia. Fact. Russia's land border is just over 20,000 kilometers long. Of that, less than 1/16th is shared with NATO members. What? NATO is encircling and trying to contain Russia. Fact. Russia's land border is over 20,000 kilometers
Why
long.
am I still
Less than 1/16th is shared with NATO members. Oh, never mind, dude. Then yeah, I guess like adding Ukraine onto the Western Hemisphere, you know, the Atlantic alliance is actually totally fine. It's just like add more border states.
Ukraine is pushing P.
World War III would be poggers. I won't have to go to school then. Yeah, you'll have to go to fucking school. You have to go to the school of hard knocks in the military. No, I'm just kidding. This guy would 100% support appeasement policy against Nazis.
Love the content. Hassle.
The relationship that Nazi Germany had with other surrounding countries and international trade relations that Germany had was a little bit different in post World War I, pre World War II era than Russia's trade relations that they have. Every war is not World War II, but except for some fucking weird reason, Americans love saying the last time that there was actually like adequate fucking military force is the only time that, you know, you can remember. The reason why you never talk about fucking South Vietnam, North Vietnam, the reason why you don't talk about the fucking Korean War, the reason why you don't talk about the endless amount of conflicts that we have engaged in that have been incredibly fucking violent, incredibly bloody, and the consequences have been devastating for the people that live there is because you know that those are fucking fat L's. So you can't even talk about Afghanistan, which literally just ended, even though we're still currently starving the people of Afghanistan, by the way. But so you have to go back to World War II, World War II, World War II, World War II. It's so fucking stupid.
Hey.
The irony, of course, is that World War II would not have been fucking won if it wasn't for the USSR, for the record. Anyway.
If people think NATO is defensive, look into NATO Article 5 and what that article was used for. Hint, it was
Myth.
used after the day in September
Hassan thinks he's so smart.
2001.
Fact. I mean, it is a myth that Hassan thinks he's so smart because I don't think I'm smart. I think I'm a fucking dummy. He's being rolled left and right today by the libs.
1 year of degeneracy hassle.
The reality is, no matter what I fucking say, the American State Department is going to do whatever the fuck it wants to do, okay? And it does not matter. Wait, what? Source from that other chatter statement, facts versus myths, state.gov, Russian disinformation on Ukraine. Okay. Guys, here. If you follow the news closely, then you saw that part of the additional escalation from the UK,
Globalized
Canada,
nuts.
and the United States of America, who are the three main advocates for further escalating tension against Russia in Ukraine, okay? Where is it? Was the British intelligence coming out with information that literally, with no fucking facts whatsoever, British intelligence leaked information earlier this morning where they said, okay, that, also
14 months later.
also Russia is interested in overthrowing the Ukrainian government and actually putting in a puppet leadership in the Ukraine. That's what they said. Okay, that's what British intelligence said earlier this morning. No additional information whatsoever. Okay? That wasn't this morning, or at least America got the information this morning, as NPR was talking about it this morning. Okay? USSR included many countries, including Ukraine, which lost the most people. Yes, I know, I understand.
14 months I survived the brain rot as high.
The amount of, not this one, the amount of fucking info coming in from the amount of information coming from the UK, how to instantly be smarter than 99% of Westoid Ukrainian commentators admit that you do not have exclusive access to Putin's brain. Living in Ukraine and reading Western news about Ukraine has made me realize I am the smartest person in the universe if I acknowledge that I know nothing. I mean, yeah, well. The map depicting NATO borders with Russia, boundary representation is not necessarily authoritative. Oh, that's where he got it. NATO never promised not to admit new members. NATO enlargement is not directed against Russia. Who would it be directed against? I mean, it's directed against technically anyone and everyone that, like, Western superpowers decide as a foreign adversary, technically. But also, it was quite literally built against the USSR. So what the fuck? State Department is holding a briefing now. Let's see.
For something she wrote a while ago, and President Erdogan threatened to silence her during Friday prayers, saying, quote, "It is our duty to cut..."
By the way, these are my favorite reporters because a lot of these fucking State Department reporters are just straight up fucking on the... I mean, they're not on the payroll, but they're literally just watch the fucking liberal war hawking.
Freedom of expression.
Canada don't have any foreign politics on the Ukraine crisis. We just hold a sign. Typical Canadian foreign policy. We don't have a direct stake in the crisis or others, so politicians can afford to focus on moral grandstanding, empty rhetoric, and lame tweets. Holding up signs, not foreign policy. Stand with Ukraine. I mean, no, there is more than that. They're just they're beefing up for it. That's not true.
They're in power. President's office denied that, but the president hasn't been seen. Are you aware of what's unfolding? Is there a coup? Have you begun an assessment of whether or not there is one?
Well, we're aware of reports that the president of Burkina Faso has been detained by members of the country's military. Our embassy team in Ouagadougou is monitoring the situation.
Okay, we're not, dude. Burkina Faso is too complicated. I'm not going to get into that. I'm sorry. Okay, Canada foreign policy is just the U.S. as 52nd state that it had its own military and trade relations. Why are libs rushing into a war? Try rushing into a vajayjay for once. I agree, dude. History of U.S. commitments not to move eastward and then went back to encircle Russia with NATO also show how Article 5 has been used as an offensive weapon, i.e. in Libya when they killed Gaddafi. Yes, NATO is not a defensive. NATO does not take a defensive stance. Okay, it's not defensive.
So much brain rot.
It's a way to fucking keep selling guns to other countries that are a part of the protection racket that we put together. Okay, and then we use those countries' people symbolically in most instances to go out and wage war, our wars that we've decided are just and honorable and justifiable, and that's precisely why we are doing this. And that's it's understandable that a fuck Russia alliance being bordered up on a country with like Russian citizens in it as well, like ethnic Russians in it, not to the same degree. Obviously, it's like 22% or something like that, but it doesn't matter. That borders Russia is going to be an escalation of tension. That's precisely why I said if China was like, yo, we're doing a fuck America alliance, and that's why we're building bases in fucking Canada, okay? And now we're going to have like, now we're going to use Canada as a fucking forward operating base against the United States. The United States would be like, we are quite literally invading Canada yesterday, okay? You understand? If China was like, hey, we are going to put fucking bases in Canada, and Canada was like, please, build some bases, don't you know? This is great. We love China. That's awesome. We love that. If China was like, yeah, we are now using Canada as a forward operating base against the United States, we would literally wipe Canada, dude. We would literally wipe our asshole with Canada yesterday. You're a fucking psycho if you think that that's not what would happen. Okay? Totally different, come on, bro. Wait, what do you mean totally different? Yeah, totally different because you live in America. And for the first time, you have to think about it like as though the stakes are fucking actually harming you, rather than some motherfuckers living across the planet that you don't give a shit about, that you will never care about when we move on from the subject of Ukraine versus Russia to any other conversation. Okay? It's over for you. It's done. You're a fucking you are a Westoid dickhead. So it's done for you. It's over. America did what it's gonna do, and then you forgot about it. You went back to jerking off the hentai, okay? Now, a fuckload of people in Ukraine are dying, okay? But it doesn't matter because the military-industrial complex is doing well. Their fucking stocks are doing well. The stock market is doing well. Now the fucking journalists are happy because there's something to cover. Non-fucking stop. War is very profitable for so many other segments, okay? And now you're done. Motherfuckers are dying in Ukraine. Russians are dying. Ukrainians are dying. Stock market's not doing well right now. I'm saying it will do well if, there is a little bit of war there. I know stock market's not doing well currently. I'm not saying it's doing well now. Oh. A war would improve your viewership a lot? No, because then I would get canceled out the fucking ass too. If I'm being like perfectly selfish, other than the fact that I don't want more war to happen, okay? Like my entire worldview as a political commentator revolves around trying to de-escalate American conflict, okay? Trying to literally fucking pull back a little bit on American war. So no, I don't think that that's good. So you just want an authoritarian Russia to expand wherever they want? Yeah, dude, they're going to expand on some bitches too, dude. They're going to come and fuck your mom later. Like, that's such a fucking idiotic take, dude. There are different ways of stopping Russia from doing anything. They haven't done it, And they're not going to do it, in my opinion, in Ukraine, with the exception of like America being like, no, we're going to give Ukraine more guns. We're going to fucking put Ukraine in NATO. We're going to do whatever the fuck we can to, again, encircle Russia. That is not a defensive posture. That is absolutely an aggressive stance against a country that we've declared a foreign adversary. But America isn't planning on invading Canada, though. So if China decided to put bases there, there's only one reason. Russia will literally invade Ukraine. Russia literally invaded Ukraine already. Dog. First of all, you are so silly. The reason why it's impossible to fucking comprehend a world in which like China is building bases all around fucking America is because we are doing that, okay? We're doing that and we'll never stop. The time for action is now. We should establish a NATO no-fly zone over Ukraine. Forward deploy U.S. forces to the Baltic. More lethal aid to Ukraine and move the Truman carrier strike group into the Black Sea. You're just wrong on this, says Faustini the Great is with a $3 dono. What do you mean $100 dono? Where did it? I didn't see it.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah, dude. No-fly zones are totally great. Wait. I love when people who are otherwise like progressives behaving like literally Henry Kissinger 2.0 in the chat.
Smile.
That's fucking sick, dude. Being anti-war to not get canceled by orbiters on Twitter is being anti-war to not get canceled by orbiters on Twitter is actually incredibly based. Wait, what do you mean? Are you fucking stupid? Actually being
before America even existed.
Being anti-war to not get canceled by orbiters? Are you fucking dumb? The orbiters on Twitter are all fucking State Department propaganda mouthpieces, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? There's already 700 videos cut from this segment that I did so far from every fucking Globe Twitter dickhead talking about how I don't know what I'm talking about and how Russia is actually going to overtake not only Ukraine, but like Germany, okay? And they're going to do Holocaust 2.0. Alongside Holodomor, I always say that wrong. I was agreeing with what you said 2 minutes ago. No, I wasn't saying that 2 minutes ago. You did not understand that. I said I'm going to get canceled for being... I'm going to get canceled for being anti-war, not canceled for being anti-war. You misunderstood what I was saying. American hypocrisy aside, do you think Russia's actions are justified? No, fuck no. What do you mean? No. No. No, of course not. This is fucking idiotic. That's why I started the conversation. That's why I started the conversation by stating that I do not agree with the actions of the Russian government. I do not agree with the actions of Vladimir Putin. Okay? I do not. It's fucking bullshit. That is quite literally how I started this conversation. Okay?
Yo.
The argument that NATO is aggressively expanding is ridiculous. Yeah, totally, dude. You're so right. It's Eastern European countries who are inviting the West because of Russian aggression. If it wasn't for NATO, Russia would be harassing Latvia and Lithuania for its Russian minority too. Yeah. No, NATO is we have to have it. You're right. It has to exist.
Hasan 2024.
Anyway, like Russia is merely reactionary to the actions by the U.S. They are at their heart a defensive realist. Chat just don't understand it. No, I mean it's not. They definitely have expansionist policies. That's not true either.
I fucking
but like,
love you.
if you are to look at the actions of the United States, the actions of NATO, and you turn around and you unironically think that like America is doing this out of the kindness of their heart, I don't know what to tell you. There have been a million different cases that you agree on where the United States has been like, oh, we're arming the Mujahideen and whipping them up into a frenzy because, you know, the Afghan communist government is doing a bad job, which they were, okay? And now the USSR is getting involved, which they did. right? Like, oh yeah, we just got to do that. We have to. We just, we have to do that. It's defensive posturing. Oopsie. Now Afghanistan is run by the Taliban again. Okay. Oopsie. Those guys, now incredibly bloody conflict. Fucking ended up, destroying the USSR in general. So that was at least a W for the foreign policy wonks at the time. And then, now the Taliban's in power. Oopsie. Okay, well, that's fine, though. Those are our guys. Is this not whataboutism? No, dude. This is the entire reason why you learn about history, okay? What I am doing here is offering you historical context of exactly what the United States has done time and time again, because you, on the one hand, recognize that back then it was bad, but then you still turn around and go, well, it's kind of good in this situation. It's not. It's not good in this situation either, okay?
18
I don't know
months,
how you
18
don't
months,
see it.
and
Like,
only
there's no
18
reason to
months
learn
we found
history
out
if you're
what
just
it
gonna
is.
fucking keep repeating the mistakes over and over again. And anytime that like anybody fucking whips you up into a frenzy, you're gonna be like, well, there's a justifiable reason to do imperialism in this situation. Sorry, we just have to do it.
One quote from Lenin would end this whole debate.
Arming the Mujahideen, a guerrilla force, is different than arming Ukraine, an independent nation. Yeah, except, the Mujahideen then became the fucking leadership.
You libtards
Okay.
need to settle down with these dumb questions. Take notes or go clean the fart smell from your computer chairs.
Why do you compare religious fanatics to normal people from Ukraine? These are completely different cases. First of all, we are arming fucking nationalist paramilitaries. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? To such a degree that, like, when it came out that we were just straight up fucking training and arming Nazis, that we had to go, oopsie, maybe it's not good that we literally pose with a bunch of fucking Nazis in the Azov battalion. Maybe we should do something about it. And then they quietly fucking passed legislation that, specified that we no longer can knowingly arm Nazis in Ukraine, okay? So that's not even a fucking, that's not even so far beyond the pale, okay? So there's that. So the idea that we're just like we're just giving guns to the Ukraine, we're giving guns to Ukrainians and that's it, and it's like a fucking established nation state, and the only reason why we're doing that is because like they need to fucking build autonomy is ridiculous.
16 missed calls, Pog.
Liberals think this is World War III. What? Jesus Christ.
Watching the start of World
Not me watching the start of World War III on a dance app.
Not me watching the start of World War III.
I mean, this is the most like, I mean, this is true. This is the most Westoid perspective you can have on this matter. It's like, it's good for it's good for the news media. It's good for everybody's fucking interactions. It's good for everyone's social engagements. And it's certainly good for the liberals who are like, I'm the most progressive person. I can show everybody how progressive I am by fucking being like, we need to help Ukraine. We need to help Ukraine every way we can to stop the Russian expansion. It's like, and the only way to stop Russian expansion is by expanding ourselves. Just like the only way to stop the ad expansion on the top of the hour is by subscribing with a fucking subscribing with a $5 subscription. Okay. Or to stop the ad break expansion onto the stream, if you don't have $5, is by subscribing
Time to
for
write my manifesto.
subscribing for Who the Twitch Prime. This motherfucker hashtagged West Elm Caleb, dude.
The end is nigher. Not me.
Okay.
So close.
And listen, if you're lucky, maybe you'll get gifted a sub. Okay, that happens too from time to time. Faustina the Greatest says, if NATO is so bad, why does every country bordering Russia want to join? What might be the common thread pushing Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Ukraine, etc. towards NATO, inching closer and closer to tanky status? Yeah, dude, I am the tanky here. Being a tanky is when you say that, like, no, the Russian, first of all, Russia and the USSR, entirely different demons that we're talking about, okay? Even the USSR from whatever time period you're talking about is an entirely different demon than the USSR from a different time frame. But also, saying that, like, I'm a tanky or rushing closer to tanky status because I don't want American tanks to fucking roll over is the most idiotic take I could ever hear. But of course, it's expected. Of course, it's expected from, you know, fucking annoying liberal Ameroids. That chatter is lying. Finland's NATO approval ratings are awful. I love when I say, like, we should be engaging in de-escalation, and I am actually, like, I'm the bad guy for saying de-escalation needs to happen. And motherfuckers who are, like, just bricked up for fucking more war that they will never even care about, that they'll only watch from the television, are literally like, no, the actual way to deal with this is literally by fucking killing people, okay? The only way we can do this is by giving lethal aid. Like, I'm the tanky because I think we have to de-escalate. We have to de-escalate. That it's like, yes, completely unacceptable for the Russian government to fucking, I don't know, annex Ukraine.
Poggers. All Biden needs to say to Putin is,
I'm a Marxist NATOist and you are a tanky. Get well soon, sweetie. Is Ukrainians wanting to join NATO intrinsically bad? Sorry if this is a stupid question. It's not a stupid question. I do think it's bad. The reason why I think it's bad is because, like, it's only going to fuck up relationships or any chance of a relationship that ever could be normalized in that situation. Yes, Russia is an imperialist power in that region, okay? It acts like an imperialist power in that region. It acts like a fucking dying empire that wants to go back to its glory days. Okay? Certainly. But having said that, like, putting all of these surrounding countries into an alliance that's formed exclusively to fucking to say fuck the country that we're talking about here is not going to be good.
Okay.
Lethal aid is a new State Department propaganda line.
2 months, baby. Let.
Ukrainians expressed confusion and anger Monday over Washington's decision to authorize the voluntary departure of government employees from Kiev and the order of mandatory withdrawal of family members and the U.S. Embassy personnel. The decision announced by the State Department cited the threat of Russian military action. Oh, the other thing.
How do you see the situation for Turkey? Because
the other thing that's pretty funny.
Keeper for the Black Sea. Do you see
is
any
that
situation that Turkey get involved?
The other side
some warships through?
Has completely co-opted, like, neocons have completely co-opted neoliberal language. Like, they have completely fucking taken over, like, identity politics and academic language revolving like social justice and progress. So now on the one hand, you got neocons that are like, no, we should do this because, you know, fuck Russia. They're a foreign adversary. We got to kill them.
Have you ever
and then you have the liberal side that's like,
social security number and
you have the liberal side, which is also saying like, no, we should do this because we care about the autonomy of Ukrainians. We care about the, we care about the sanctity and safety of Ukrainians, and Russia is an imperialist power, sweaty, and we need to stop imperialism. We need to stop Russian imperialism from occurring.
As Russia fucks their land and hope someone responds.
Okay. We have to remember that since the collapse of the Soviet Union, Western economic hegemony has basically made NATO a very coercive economic force. That's why a lot of countries want to join so they can be in the club, essentially a mafia. Yeah, no, it is exactly the same as the mafia gang. Okay? Out of control, Ukraine's rogue militias. Anyway. anyway, so I mean that was in 2017, and then in 2018. In 2018, they realized or it came out that the American government was like straight up fucking arming the Azov battalion, openly Nazi dudes. They had actually got caught with people from the Azov battalion, like American legislators that were celebrating the arms deal with Ukraine. Were also fucking they literally posed with these people, and they were like, oh shit, turns out they're fucking Nazis. And then in 2018, legislation passed, the oopsie legislation, where they decided, oopsie, we should not fucking arm the Nazi part. Let's not do that. There is a very worrisome, very troubling. We've been inserting SOF frogs with Azon since last year. What? What the fuck? I don't know if I can show this. There's a really troubling. Who supplied you with these talking points? Some comrade from Kremlin? Yes, dude. Yeah. Russians love when I'm like, Vladimir Putin is bad, and also Russian expansion and Russian imperialism is bad, except the NATO, the NATO fucking existence is significantly more threatening for the Ukrainian people that do not recognize that this will lead to further fucking conflict between both nations. Also, of course, Russia is a very communist country and not a fucking hyper-capitalist, oligarch-backed, post-revolutionary nation state that is basically a dystopia. Okay? That's, it's still the USSR. Russia is the USSR, and the comrades are giving me the info. It's the same exact attitude that people have whenever I talk about fucking China, beyond like China bad, and we should literally kill every fucking, we should literally fucking push back against China with the most like violent way possible. If I say anything beyond that, everyone turns into like, you're a Chinese operative. You piece of shit. You love the Wuhan flu. You fucking say it right now. Say Kung Flu right now, or else I will never know who your allegiance lies with. And it's like liberals who are fucking progressive. It's like, I'm really progressive. Also, I have the exact same point of view on this issue as John Bolton. You know what I mean? I love being a fucking 20-year-old, like, radical Marxist Zoomer. I'm queer and a Marxist on the internet. And then I happen to have the exact same approach to American foreign policy that, like, literally your grandfather has. I have the exact same approach to American foreign policy that, like, Henry Kissinger and John Bolton and, Hillary Clinton have. It's crazy. It's just, you're not like actually leftist. You just can't fucking see anything beyond, like, the radical aesthetics that you have adopted on the internet because you think it's fucking cool. Okay? No, man, you don't understand. I care about Ukrainian autonomy, and that's precisely why I love giving them more guns. Even if I don't want to think about the potential consequences of like agitating and further escalating into warfare between Ukraine and Russia. It's like, dude, what are you, is your dad work at Raytheon? Like, what the fuck's going on? What kind of fucking Zoomer takes are these where you're just like, The decision announced by the Department of State cited the threat of Russian military action. It comes as a staggering number of Russian soldiers with heavy weaponry continue to arrive at areas along the Ukraine border, moves that President Joe Biden has warned may be a preparation for a new invasion. The Ukrainians, however, have been more cautious in their assessment of the situation, with current and former national security and defense officials saying they don't recognize Russia's latest military buildup as anything out of the ordinary. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky does not think there's any remotely imminent threat to Kyiv at the moment, a source close to the president told BuzzFeed News on Monday, reacting to the partial U.S. withdrawal. The fact that the U.S. was the first one to announce this being the voluntary departures and mandatory withdrawals, is extremely disappointing, and quite frankly, these Americans are safer in Kiev than they are in Los Angeles or any other crime-ridden city in the U.S. The source close to Zelensky said that the president's office viewed the U.S. move as utterly ridiculous and symbolic of what it views as a U.S. inconsistency. On the one hand, Washington tells Ukraine how we should democratize. We stand with you. It's your right to determine to join the West. We will stand with you against Russian aggression, the source said, mimicking messages of support from the U.S. to Ukraine in the past. Then Russia turns up the temperature, and they're the first to leave. The State Department and U.S. Embassy didn't immediately return a request for comment. Zelensky has tried to keep Ukrainians calm and avoid to panic as warnings from Western governments reverberate in Kiev. In a televised address to the nation last week, the president told his people, "What's new? Isn't this the reality for 8 years? Didn't the invasion start in 2014? Did the threat of a large-scale war appear only now? These risks existed. They haven't become bigger. The excitement around them, however, has grown. I wonder why." This is exactly what I said, by the way, that like it's not the fucking Russian stance or Russian posturing that is the true fucking escalation of war. It's actually Western forces that are fucking operating out of DC, that are operating out of fucking London, that is constantly fucking hyping up war. Why are you reading BuzzFeed News? BuzzFeed's news segment has like some pretty fucking adequate coverage, and also it doesn't matter. They're like, what do you think? They're fucking making this up? BuzzFeed News is pretty good. I've said this time and time again. I don't know why you think like BuzzFeed News and BuzzFeed fucking Harry Potter quiz are the same shit. Ukraine's foreign ministry said it had noted the U.S. decision, but it felt it was too soon. While we respect right of foreign nations to ensure safety and security of their diplomatic missions, we believe such a step to be a premature one and an instance of excessive caution, tweeted the Ukrainian foreign ministry person, Ole Nikolenko. Dude, I can't believe BuzzFeed is literally lying, dude. That's crazy that BuzzFeed actually fucking made the spokesperson for Ukraine, tweet out this fake fucking tweet saying that it's the United States and Western forces are fucking escalating and reacting in this like disproportionate measure to threats that they themselves on the ground do not see as significant as the Western media does. It's also wild whenever BuzzFeed does that stuff. You know, it's crazy. You know, because BuzzFeed personally went and created this fake account, the spokesperson for MFA Ukraine. It's just, it's fake. Like, that's not a real tweet because, hey, listen, it didn't get coverage in NBC News, so obviously BuzzFeed News must be lying because NBC News is telling me the truth. Anyway, does the Russian government really feel threatened? Do they really believe they would be attacked, or is it just to escalate for an excuse to start war? No. Vladimir Putin wants to fucking saber rattle, as he always does, so that he can fucking exert authority, control, make it seem like he's posturing against, Western expansion and Western imperialism. The real threat is from Ukraine joining NATO, though. That is a legitimate fucking act of aggression. Life goes on. Kiev residents maintain calm amid the threat of a Russian invasion. I remember reading this. This is an old article, isn't it? There's literally this article has been written like 8 times in the past month, by the way. But it doesn't matter. This is not what you get the play on, okay? The play is not this. The play is not motherfuckers in Kiev writing about this. The play is actually people in London talking about how fucking crazy it is. Like everyone is fucking terrified that like war is imminent. It's definitely gonna happen. Russia is like ready to fucking go to war right now. So why are they agitating now? Is it because without Afghanistan, Yemen does not provide enough of a weapons market? Maybe. I truly do not know what the underlying material reasons are for why like we're fucking saber rattling against Russia so aggressively and posturing so fucking aggressively. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the actual opinion is, or what the actual reason is, other than like, yeah. See, they wrote about it again. It's our house. Mood in Kiev calm despite threat of Russian attack. They write this like every week. I remember reading this article. Okay, they fucking write this every week, but it doesn't matter because like if you ask If you ask people in my chat who are definitely Ukrainian and in Kiev right now, everyone is fucking up in arms. They think that, you know, the invasion is imminent, dude. Yeah, the only time invasion will be imminent is if you fucking actually send 8,500 troops into Ukraine, okay? Yeah, I already mentioned this. Up to 8,500 U.S. troops have been put on heightened alert for a possible deployment to Eastern Europe as Russian troops mass on Ukraine's border, Pentagon spokesman John Kirby said. By the way, the funniest part about this is, like, they're not even a fucking NATO country, but they're being treated like a NATO country. And then you wonder why fucking Putin doesn't want Ukraine to be in a NATO, be in NATO. Like, that's what happens when you're a fucking NATO country, dude. What the fuck? 100K Russian troops on the Ukrainian borders just for exercise, right? No, it's because they want to fucking, they're going to go in and invade right now, dude. They're invading right now. They're on the verge of invasion. It's going to happen. Yeah. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian authorities are like, hold the fuck up. What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? The Vladimir Putin, in the talks that he had with Joe Biden, said there's no need for war. We do not want to fucking do war. We do not want to you're causing panic. All you need to do is just give us assurances that, like, Ukraine will not be a part of NATO. Okay? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Because you never hear that. And then when I mention it, and I have before in the past fucking month, I have mentioned this stuff. Whenever I mention it, you go, hey, why do you even trust Putin? Putin's not telling the truth. Okay, I get it. Like, Putin is not telling the truth. He's a fucking liar. Of course, he's a authoritarian dickhead. But, like, it's not in his best interest to actually engage in, like, regular conflict either. It's in his best interest, however, to do the strategic posturing against Western imperialist forces, and then fucking turn around and say, look, I got a dub. Ukraine is never going to be a part of NATO. Look at that dub. But Americans don't want to give him that dub. Okay? The real dub, however, is the top of the hour ad break that you avoid if you fucking subscribe. Because at the top of the hour, there's a 60-second ad break, and many of you are already aware of it. Okay? You already know that it's coming. But if you want a fucking dub, you know, you get gifted a sub. If you're not lucky enough to get gifted a sub, then all you need to do is subscribe on your own. You get the dubs on your own, you know, by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. You get to fucking, you know, avoid the ad breaks at the top of the hour. It's the greatest dub of all time. The Dubberoonie. Here's a 1 minute ad break now. Hey, Doodle Noodle, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. But I'm baby. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. The Ukrainian army officer until 2 years ago, Tereshchenko, is preparing for a possible Russian attack. If Moscow does launch a further military operation against Ukraine, assuming diplomatic talks fail this week, he and his friends are already ready to fight. He said, there are a lot of us. It's our house. It's our country. Tereshchenko conceded that Russia has a formidable army with 100,000 troops amassed at the border. It could swiftly overrun much of Ukraine in a blitzkrieg, he said. But he predicted that should the Kremlin seize new territory, it would quickly find itself embroiled in a bloody and costly partisan war. There will be many Russian casualties, he anticipated. The Kremlin can seize runways, demand concessions, but they will find it hard to hold cities. During the day, they will see a civilian population. At night, we will attack them with weapons and grenades. As Russia and the U.S. sat down on Monday for talks with Geneva, the NATO USA, like, the Russian forces would never be able to deal with fucking an insurgent battle inside of Ukraine. Like, the Russian forces will get fucking, that's way too hard for them to deal with. Okay? way too costly, way too fucking hard. It would be horrible for them. Okay, it would be horrible for the country. Yeah, I ran the outbreak. I mean, it's so horrible that America can't deal with it. Think about that. It's not worth it. Like, it's just not worth it at all. Yeah, they will just kill civilians like they did in the past. No, of course they will kill civilians, but ultimately it's still incredibly costly and ineffective and awful for them to try to fight. For context, there are 44 million people living in Ukraine. Yeah, it's just like impossible for them to engage in this sort of thing. America can't even do it. It's true and obvious, but what if Putin's actually nuts? Shit. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I don't engage in that. Okay? I don't. That's the fucking most that's the silliest, most basic, most like I'm a fucking 12-year-old attitude to have about foreign policy. Oh, what if the person is crazy? Yeah, dude. Yeah, they're just like drunk with power and they're behaving in a crazy way. The people in positions of power want one thing and one thing only, especially strong men, authoritarian strong men like Vladimir Putin, or especially authoritarian strongmen like Recep Tayyip Erdogan. They want to maintain their grip of power. That's it. So every single action that they're going to take, for the most part, is going to be about preserving their power, their grip they have. And that is going to lead them not to take dangerous and decisive action that will actually threaten their power. Okay? Like that attitude, like what if he goes Joker mode? What if Vladimir Putin goes Joker mode is like a silly one. You can't do foreign policy decisions on that. Some people like Terashenko were following political events keenly. Others were doing their best to avoid them. One local journalist said she had gone on vacation, reasoning that it made sense to take a break now before a possible Russian attack later this month. Actually, I had an exam today. I'm focused on normal life. This situation has been going on since 2014. You can't live under constant pressure. You adapt. His friend Diana admitted, I'm trying to not think about it. It's too much negative. Yes, the situation with Vladimir Putin is a bit scary, but we have so many other problems in Ukraine, including COVID. To think about one more is hard, she said, before jumping in an Uber. Putin published an essay in which he asserted that Ukraine and Russia were one people. He wants NATO to rule out membership for Ukraine and effectively to return Eastern Europe to a Russian zone of influence. Would there be more war? What Putin thinks he generally does, Tatiana, a middle-aged pharmacist, said. I wouldn't describe myself at this moment as an optimist, she added. Some of the things he's written about history are ridiculous. He twists things for his own purposes. He lies. Terashenko said he had fought in Ukraine's eastern Donbas region, where Moscow-backed separatists run their own mini fiefdoms from the cities Donetsk and Luhansk. He said there were some traitors active in Ukrainian politics who would be willing to work with Russia in the event of a takeover. Ukraine and Russia are different countries with different traditions, one democratic, the other strongly autocratic and repressive, he said. He reeled off a series of dates, starting with 1648, when Ukrainian Cossacks allied with Crimean Tatars to throw out their Polish overlords. Yeah, the rebellion led to the creation of a hetmanat, I don't know how to fucking say that, a democratic system in which Ukrainians voted for a military chief or hetman. At the same time, Eastern Ukraine became part of the Russian Empire. Over the next 2 centuries, Ukrainian traditions, culture, and language were eroded, he said. Ukrainian statehood was too precious and too hard won to be sacrificed once again to Russian ambitions, he suggested. There are groups in the U.S., there are groups of us in every town. Resistance won't stop. Terashenko was scathing about the U.S.-Russia discussions taking place in Switzerland. Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, was not at the table. It's true our leader is weak, but how can you decide the future of a state without a state present? Are the libs done freaking out about Ukraine? No, they're never going to stop. Putin's Ukraine rhetoric driven by distorted view of neighbor. Russian president believes it's his duty to reverse Kiev's path towards the West. For Putin, the issue of an independent Ukraine that could potentially serve as an even informal ally of NATO on Russia's border has become a true red line. Yep. Oh, Hetmanat is basically Ataman. Look, like a Cossack form of rule. Hetman is the Turkic Ataman. Damn, bro, they're Turks too. What's worse in your opinion, Russian invasion and takeover, or Ukraine joining NATO? No, the Russian invasion and takeover is fucking awful, and so is the Ukraine joining NATO, because the Ukraine joining NATO will engage in some form of Russian invasion and conflict. So ultimately, both of those roads lead down to Russian invasion. The best thing to do is de-escalate by using. Wait, hold on. By using the complicated, and also by using the trade by using the trade relations that they have. I gotta send this text message. By using the trade relations that they have with Russia, okay? By using your words, just be nice. No, it's not using your words. It's material power. It's exercising the number one thing that everyone cares about, which is money. Why should Russia decide if Ukraine is going to be in NATO or not? Because NATO is a fucking anti-Russia organization. That's it. So as a regional superpower, they are saying, this is our red line. We do not want this. Okay? I personally do understand that. Like, I get why they would not want that. It's not in their best interest to allow that to happen. Of course not. Why the fuck would they want that? Why can't Ukraine be anti-Russia if NATO is a regional superpower? No, Ukraine can be anti-Russia. That's fine. Ukraine being anti-Russia is normal. It's understandable. It's fine. NATO is a different ballgame. Look at what's going on right now. The reason why we're having this conversation is because the Western world is currently utilizing Ukraine as though it's a NATO member. That's what's going on. That's it. So you are simultaneously, on the one hand, being like, dude, what's so bad about Ukraine joining NATO? While also, on the other hand, seeing the impact of what happens when Ukraine is NATO. Because we're behaving like Ukraine is NATO currently. And no, NATO is not based. Also, the U.S. decision to fucking remove diplomats' families from Ukraine is the perfect example of how U.S. treats its allies, okay? You are nothing but a tool. You are nothing but a fucking tool. All right, I'm done with this. Russia is anti-NATO, not the other way around. Wait, no, I'm saying... What? Russia is anti-NATO, not the other way around? You think NATO is not... Like, why do you think NATO was built, Chatter? What was the design? What was the purpose of NATO? Are you fucking dumb? I mean, it's kind of true that it's not just against the USSR because the USSR doesn't exist anymore. But if you think that, like, the express purpose of NATO and its design wasn't to, you know, fucking own, engage in ideological warfare against communism and also the USSR, I don't know what to fucking tell you. And not only that, but also... not only that, but also now NATO is, of course, being used against wherever the fuck America wants to do imperialism. Jordan Peterson, Jerry, drip check. Oh, fuck. Has this happened already? Off the seat, Joe Rogan. When is this going to be uploaded, dude? USSR, former Russian Federation, asked to join NATO and NATO denied it, so they made a Warsaw Pact. U.S. lost its mind when socialists took over Cuba. Multiple invasion assassination attempts. U.S. is admitting former Soviet states into NATO. Putin's response shouldn't be surprising. It's not. North Atlantic Treaty Organization was created in 1949 by the United States, Canada, and several Western European nations to provide collective security against the Soviet Union. NATO was the first peacetime military alliance the United States entered into outside of the Western Hemisphere. Yeah. Dude, it's someone said Russia wanted to join NATO. What the fuck are you talking about? I can't believe you're saying that Russia is anti-NATO. Russia tried to join NATO. Yeah, what happened? Are they a part of NATO? How did NATO membership work for Turkey since the 50s? Hypocrisy much? You think it's good? You think Turkey's NATO membership is good? What are you, fucking stupid? Not good on my end. You know how much fucking death and destruction has fallen and the eradication of fucking any kind of like meaningful Turkish left as a consequence of Turkey being America's dog historically and allowing America to fucking build military bases against the USSR? The fuck are you talking about? It's just the mafia gang, dude. NATO is the mafia gang. My family in Ukraine don't know and don't care about NATO. The government too busy with that than improving material conditions, but governments are always disconnected from the people everywhere. How the fuck could they apply if NATO is anti-Russia ape? Dude, you can't be fucking serious, right? What is... Wait, why can't I pull people's user cards now? What the fuck's going on? That's weird. Dude, this guy is so fucking stupid. How is he this stupid? AWS is going down right now? Oh, fuck. How is he this fucking dumb? How do you not understand like, that's not proof, you dumb bitch. That's not proof. Like, that's... It is quite literally the opposite of what you think it is, okay? Turkey and NATO literally caused the Cuban Missile Crisis. Yeah, exactly. If you want to see their logs, Russia is a lying state. This signed the Budapest Agreement and then annexed Crimea. Educate yourself, ape. Russia won't fight NATO, silly. Applied to join NATO. What are you talking about? How the fuck they could apply if NATO is anti-Russia, ape? Absolutely uneducated on a serious matter. Yeah, the least racist, Ukrainian nationalist, bro. Ethan got to see this shocking Cav info. Wait, is he Hungarian? Talk about arming Nazis is disrespecting Ukrainians fighting for their freedom and culture. Yeah, dude. They're fucking trying to protect their ethnic heritage, bro. What the fuck? They must secure a meaningful existence for their Ukrainian children, dude. You fucking ape. It's so funny, dude. Lol, that's the way to argue. This guy's fucking stupid. Hey, dumbass, the reason why I'm saying you're stupid is because you thought that Russia trying to join NATO was and then, of course, not being able to join NATO was a good example of why NATO is not expressly anti-Russia. Also, you keep calling me a fucking ape. Like, what are you, fucking upset that I said your argument is stupid? Anyway. Membership in NATO is the reason Turkey isn't as fucked up as its neighbors. No, correct me if I'm wrong, but most Turks approved the U.S. NATO until the U.S. tried using Turkish territory to bomb Iraq in 2003. That's the point, dude. That you're literally describing why I'm anti-NATO. Okay? That's insane. This idea that we have like literally a fucking protection racket in the form of NATO is like totally justifiable because otherwise they will fuck you. Okay? Otherwise they will kill you. Otherwise they will bomb you into fucking oblivion. And even then, when you are a part of fucking NATO, then they'll use you to bomb other places where you might want to fucking develop better relationships with. That's the whole point. That's what I'm angry. That's why I'm fucking upset. That's why I don't think NATO should continue growing. That's precisely my point. This is beyond me being fucking Turkish, okay? I'm talking about how fucking completely unacceptable this is. I see you checking history, Jank's nephew. You should really check your sources on things you say. I can't even check people's histories because fucking Twitch is broken. Oh, here. Chappelle is a black conservative at heart, so we rise the SJW way off that. What? Come on, bro. Give me something better than that if you want to. So NATO is bad. Trying to wrap my head around this. So you supported Donald Trump. Donald Trump's foreign policy decisions were fucking super aggro and super pro-war. But Donald Trump's foreign policy divisions with respect to NATO were not that bad. Except it doesn't matter. He was never gonna fucking leave he was never gonna leave NATO anyway. That was like bullshit. That was just bullshit. He was never actually gonna leave NATO. He just wanted other countries in NATO to also give more to that alliance. All right, we're done with this now. The U.S. taking steps to heighten the readiness of the force at home and abroad so they prepare to support a range of contingencies, including NATO response force, if activated, has placed a range of units inside of the U.S. on a heightened preparedness to deploy. All told, number of the forces are 8,500 personnel. Asked about the timing of this, Kirby says, it is very clear that the Russians right now have no intention of de-escalating, so need to be prepared. We want to make sure that we're ready in the case. Yeah, lethal aid, bro. Lethal aid. Fucking great. Oh, this is great. When we move stuff faster through ports, when bridges don't have weight restrictions, when there's less traffic on our roads, that's how we resolve supply chain problems, get goods to people quicker and cheaper. The bipartisan infrastructure law is helping making it happen. Wait, what? Wait, they want to fucking... Wait, they want to fucking waive weight restrictions on the bridges? Wait, what? Does he mean like make better bridges? That's what he means, right? He doesn't mean like waive the weight restrictions on bridges. That would be psychotic. Oh, I forgot to watch all this shit, dude. Anyway, I don't want to fucking watch all this shit. U.S. We already covered this so much. Okay? Let's talk about the Supreme Court agreeing to hear affirmative action in college admissions.
And here we go. Breaking news out of the Supreme Court. Let's bring in the one and only Pete Williams. Pete, what do we know?
Well, the Supreme Court's just agreed to take up another blockbuster issue. This is the question of affirmative action in college admission.
No, that was worded really weirdly, okay? That was worded really fucking weirdly. He doesn't mean like he wants to waive the weight restrictions. He wants to build bridges with better weight capacity, okay? But because we are also rotted with Ameribrain, okay? Because we also have American brain rot, we think like whenever the government is doing anything, it's to deregulate. Understandable that we thought that. I don't think he's saying like.
The court will hear a challenge to the affirmative action program at Harvard University that was brought by a group of Asian American students. Now, the Supreme Court has looked at this question repeatedly over the past years and has typically upheld affirmative action in college admissions as long as these are not strict quotas. The Supreme Court has said that colleges and universities can use a student's race as a plus.
Okay, but it's not a strict quota. So what the fuck? The college application process is a multifaceted process. Like, it is a complicated process. It's not just like SAT scores. You know what I mean? Fucking Christ.
Factor in admissions, provided that it's not a quota. But there are two differences now since the Supreme Court has last upheld affirmative action, and their names are Anthony Kennedy and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, both of whom upheld affirmative action and are now gone, replaced by more conservative justices who take a more jaundiced view of this. So my guess is that this grant is too late to have the case argued this term. It seems likely that it'll be argued in the term that begins in October. But it is a huge issue, and affirmative action may be in serious trouble now that the court has agreed to look at.
The real affirmative action that happens in college campuses is one by way of class, and nobody ever fucking considers that to be wrong or immoral. It's called legacy admissions, okay? That's the real fucking affirmative action. Legacy admissions is comprised of the largest number of fucking college applicants that are not even deserving of that status, like to be able to get in. They are that's the real fucking affirmative action. But of course, once again, you know, racist ass motherfuckers are utilizing Asian people, the model minority, as the model minority to say, hey, we actually just don't want racism because affirmative action is racism. When in fact, affirmative action is nothing but a band-aid, okay? Affirmative action is bullshit. It's bullshit. It's just a band-aid solution to a irreparable, much larger systemic problem with racism in this country, okay? Affirmative action is just basically saying, all right, we're just going to like do everything we can here to like, you know, add just like one or two people, like elevate one or two people into the fucking admissions process that we normally wouldn't, regardless of what we are doing at the lower levels of education. Redlining's legacy has not ended in this country, okay? American cities are still just as segregated as ever. They are still segregated. That means that the policies still, the policy of redlining still has nefarious, horrifying consequences on the educational opportunities of black and brown children. The Chicago public school system is a great example of this, okay? So this notion that like affirmative action is going to save anything is a silly one, but because of how incredibly horny white people are to just fucking be as abusive as possible to black and brown children and black and brown people's development, that they don't even want anybody to get like a little bit, okay? They don't even want the crumb. Even the Band-Aid itself is fucking horrifying for them, okay? And then now they're using Asians or some conservative Asians as a cudgel, as a way to, put forward a position.
Look at this.
That's it. That's my take on fucking affirmative action.
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Let's go! Yes! Let's go, Brandon! Wasn't the dispute in this case because there was a maximum on the number of Asian students they'd accept? Interesting history to watch. Do you want Ukrainians to die defenseless like the Armenians? Yeah, dude, that's what I want. Oh my God, dude. Oh my fucking God, dude. So nasty. So nasty of you. You've been in here for 9 months. You know exactly what my position is on the Armenian genocide. You know I don't fucking deny it or anything like that. You're just straight up fucking using like the grossest. Ugh. Neoliberals are so fucking gross, dude. They immediately fucking pull on the oh, you deny the Armenian genocide. Like immediately, you know. You fucking piece of shit. You fucking disgusting dog shit that I fucking stepped on. Bitch made motherfucker. You know exactly what my position is, but immediately, just like those fucking groyp just like the Nazis, just like the fucking conservatives that say like Chunk Yogurt's nephew, you immediately jump on the fucking bandwagon to be like, you know what? Actually, you don't fucking care. Yeah. Yeah. Why? Because I'm Turkish, right? Nice. Nice, bro. Nice. You bitch. You're fucking, you're a piece of shit, dude. You're a bad person, okay? I am leftist, not neoliberal. Yeah, you are a leftist fucking NATO supporter. Get the fuck out of here. I am leftist, and I also love NATO. I'm a leftist NATO supporter. I'm a leftist fucking pro-Western imperialist. Dumbass. Americans only want a guerrilla war where the Ukrainians win after a decade of insurgency while destruction and death rampages their country. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's precisely what it is. They couldn't fucking get that in Hong Kong. Okay, it wasn't going to happen in Hong Kong. Okay, maybe they'll be able to get that in Ukraine. And that's what they want. And the people of Ukraine will suffer. And your fucking country, if you're Ukrainian, okay, your country will literally turn into a fucking battleground.